this process.
Great. And then Professor Fernie just did it. Thank you, Professor. It's working now.
Okay. Hi, Professor. Should I start?
Let me, I will just introduce you quickly. I'll stop sharing so you can begin, Cecilia.
Okay.
You can start sharing now. In the meantime so hi, everyone. Oh, let me record on my computer too.
It's not letting me share.
This meeting is being recorded.
It's done right now. Can you please try it? And let me also make you co-host. I cannot.
Okay.
Great. Let's ask Professor. Hi, Professor. Or maybe he would like to introduce you better.
No. So go ahead. I just a quick hello to Cecilia. Hello, Cecilia.
Hi, Professor. How are you?
Great to
Good
see you. And I look forward to your talk. I'll pass to Alma. She manages that, but I just want to say hello before you give your talk.
Okay, great. Thank you, Professor. Thank you for your time. And thank you, everyone, for joining us again in this wonderful PPCR talk. And it's an honor for me to present Cecilia Souza, a PPCR alumni for 2021 from Brazil. She's also a volunteer TA in our program, and she's currently an MPH candidate at Johns Hopkins University. We asked her and invite her because she will also share about not just the application process, because as we were talking before, she applied to Harvard twice and she got accepted, but she also applied to Johns Hopkins, and she decided to go there because there are also many funding opportunities, and the syllabus and so on was more applied to what she was looking for. And we also got many PPCR alumni and current students joining us today that are really interested in the funding opportunities, are options for the students from Brazil. And that's why we invited Cecilia today. And we want to thank you again for your time. We know that you've been really busy with the presentations and exams terms right now in your MPH. I'll be here in the background helping you out. So you are more than welcome to begin. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation. And so without further ado, let's start. So the agenda for today, I try to just tell you a little more of my background to see that I'm like everyone else here. Then talk a little bit of my experience in the PCR, the application process. I know you had previous talks about it, so this will be just a very quick overview with tiny little tips, and then scholarships, and then about the program here at Hopkins. So my background, I graduated in high school from UFMG in Brazil. Then I did my radiation oncology training in Camargo Cancer Center, also in Brazil. And after completing residency, I worked as a chief resident and then as an attending physician in 2 hospitals in São Paulo. And I'm currently here living in Baltimore as an MPH student at Bloomberg. I was a PPCR student in 2021, and I would like to highlight 2 main things. First is to use this opportunity to really apply the concept. So you will have a theoretical background that is really amazing, and that it has opened many doors for me, but also try to use it in real life. So I was in my last year of residency and we did have a capstone project. So I used everything we were learning, and I don't know if you're still having the opportunity to send your drafts for a review, but if you do, please do so. So I sent my draft to Professor Halstead, and my manuscript was chosen. And he reviewed like a very thorough review, and I also got reviews from my colleagues, and this resulted in this that I shared here, which was my first paper as a first author. So I really have to thank the PCR for that, because it improved my paper as a whole, and also the writing and the submission process. Even if you're not selected for the writing manuscript workshop, we as colleagues, you will become very critical about evidence and about papers. So take advantage of that, because I got amazing insights from colleagues who helped me also reviewing and sharing their thoughts. So my first tip here is it's really for you to take advantage of everything you're learning. Even if you are like in a hospital residency, you want to do retrospective study, a literature review, you do have the tools to do that. Then I continued in the program as a volunteer. And I think here the main word would be that we are a community and that you will collaborate a lot. So even sharing ideas, many of the projects I've been involved with, I would just discuss with people because they have amazing backgrounds. They do know a lot of things. and they are willing to help you. So I think Professor Fregni and Alma, they are really amazing the way that they created the sense of community and helping each other. So do take advantage of that. And also, this is definitely a learning experience. I think I learned more like after completing the program, reviewing everything and trying to discuss and thinking through things, because it's a lot of like knowledge is endless. So I highly suggest you to really take advantage of that and try to use everything in your favor to really improve your CV. And another thing is that PPCR will give you tools that whenever you are approaching a research group, even if you are a junior researcher, even if you are a resident, and you say, oh, I've been in the program, they already recognize that you do have some background, and this can open many, many doors. So many of the projects that I've been enrolled after PPCR was really a life-changing experience because people would see me differently, and I also knew more. So about the MPH application, I'll try to be very quick here and just focusing on some important things. The first is that I know that here we hear a lot about the Harvard program. I'm talking about the Hopkins program, but there are many programs here in the US and in other countries as well. And in SOFA's website, I can share the presentation after because I have everything linked here. You can search for programs based if they are online, on campus, if they require GRE, how they start. And I highly suggest you to take a look at this list, search for programs, because it's not simply a thing of which one is best, but which one fits best in my goals, because they have differences in how they are designed and how your experience is going to be. So depending on your objectives, on what you want to do after the program, one program might be a better fit for you than another one. And sometimes many programs can be a great fit. And especially for those of you who are thinking about scholarships criteria might vary depending on the program. So sometimes it's a very good strategy to have more options. So the whole process is here in SOFAs. You will have a unified application and then some personalized items for each program. And regarding SOFAs, the things that I would like to highlight, you have to complete SOFA's application forms. So they will have questions about your bibliography, your life, your education, everything you did before applying to the program. Don't leave this for the last minute, because it's a lot of things that you have to fill, complete, explain, put dates, name of your supervisor, describe the activities. And you really want to do this carefully, not only because you want to be approved, but because this can be also considered for scholarship purposes. So do it like carefully with detail, take your time to do it. This is not something that I finished in just one day. So this would be my first advice. Second, is for everyone here who's an international student, you do have to proceed with the credential evaluation, and they usually recommend doing this through WES. I put the link here. This website will put you directly on the required documentation from your home university. And this is something that you should be careful about, because some universities, they already have previous agreements, and this can be a very smooth process. So in my university, I just had to send a translated document, and they send it directly to WES, and then WES will upload in SOFAs. Some universities, you'll have to go there in person, require this document, and then send to WES, and this can take time. So if you're thinking about applying this cycle, this is something that you really need to check and pay attention, because you won't be able to submit your application if you don't have this. Then also regarding test scores, TOEFL is required for all international students with some minor exceptions, but usually everyone. The grades will vary depending on the program. So take a look first at which programs you want to apply to, and then take a look at the grades they are requiring. Don't leave it for the last minute, because if you don't achieve a certain grade, then you have time to retake the exam. From what I've heard when I was applying, the TOEFL score is usually a thing of, did you reach the minimum score, yes or no? And some schools might be more or less strict regarding this. So just be careful about that. The other things that you'll have to do is the statement of purposes. Don't leave it for the last minute. You will have like 100 reviews, and ask for advice. At least in Brazil, I was not trained to write this type of document. And I still remember my first version. Michelle kindly reviewed it to me and she was like, we'll have to schedule a Zoom because I'm not able to comment on the document. You need more help than that. And she stayed 2 hours with me, really reviewing everything and explaining why my first version was literally terrible and what I had to do to improve it. So really ask people to read their opinions and do it carefully. You will need letters of recommendation, minimum 3 letters. My advice here is minimum 4 letters because someone might forget, might not upload it on time. So it's always better to have a safe option. And also you will have to upload your CV, your resume. Also, don't leave anything for the last minute. I think that's the truth. So these are my general tips about SOFAs. And now about scholarships. I know this is a very sensitive topic because many people, they don't even apply to the programs because they look at the tuitions and they are like, this is prohibitive, I'll never be able to afford that, and they don't even try. And I still remember Professor Sprague's advice, and he told me, apply first, and then you look for scholarships. But first you have to apply because to earn a scholarship, you have to be accepted in a program. So first thing, scholarships may require separate application. So sometimes when you apply for SOFAs, you're automatically considered for some scholarships. Sometimes they will ask you to apply in different systems, and some scholarships, they are in a completely separate application. So the first thing, every university, every program will have a financial ed department, website, or something like that. Here I linked the one from Hopkins. And then they'll have here scholarship search, and then many guides, links. So what I did, I would go through those links. I would have a spreadsheet, and I would write the scholarship. I would check if I would check the eligibility criteria because sometimes I was not able to even apply to them. Deadlines, what I needed to do for the submission. And I had like a huge spreadsheet with all the options. And the thing is, you might not get all the scholarships you're applying, but you do have to try. So don't put all your only one option. Just try to be broad. They really advise you not to only focus on the big full tuition scholarships, because there are scholarships that will offer you smaller amounts of grants that might be very, very helpful. And sometimes you might even use more than one. So just go on the websites, look at it carefully, keep it organized, and do a very thorough search. And another tip, this is from the Harvard website, they have a very extensive guideline as well, is to search locally. And that's what I'm going to talk about, specific opportunities in Brazil. But you will find institutions and foundations that are willing to sponsor students from your home country. And another thing that it's encouraged is, okay, even if you do not find anything here, you can try to contact, okay, which institution in my country usually sponsors students? Let me write them an email, ask if they are willing to sponsor me or to open some sort of selection process, because I know students who got opportunities like this. So talk to people who are enrolled, ask them how they did it, and really search. So I spent a lot of time just searching for scholarships opportunities. And this is the announcement that I like to share with you, because Fundação Maria Emília, this is an institution from Brazil, but I do know that we do have institutions like all over the world doing this. They are hosting a webinar next week explaining about the opening of a new scholarship opening that people will be able to apply to for the MPH at Hopkins, and they will probably offer, I think, 5 scholarships. So this is an amazing opportunity, and I highly recommend you. Paul will probably talk more about the program, and Luis is a former MPH student. Paul is the executive coordinator, and they will explain about the application process for the scholarship. And for those of you who are applying to Harvard, Lemon Foundation also has a scholarship focused on Brazilian students. And well, there are many other options, but I just wanted to share this with you, and Alma, we can share the link with them because you do need to send an email to receive the invitation. Okay. Until what I talk now, any questions? Let me see here in the chat.
No, yet. There are no questions right now, for now.
Okay.
You can continue.
Okay, so now I'm going to talk about my experience here, specifically at Hopkins. So I put a map here so you can see. The Bloomberg School is in Baltimore, Maryland. This is 1 hour from DC, so we are pretty close to cities like DC, New York. And Bloomberg was the first public health school, and they were also the first FE department and biostats department. So this is a place with a lot of history in research, and it's very interesting because sometimes you're in class and they're like, okay, they describe it here. So it's an enormous school. They have different programs, and my program specifically is the MPH. The MPH here at Hopkins, they consider it a school-wide program, and it's very flexible. So when you arrive, you have basically two options. You can either do a customized or a concentrated program. The MPH always starts in summer, and summer term is the same for everyone, and you will have core requirements courses. What I think is really interesting is because it really gives you a broad view of public health. So for the first time in my life, I had to take healthcare policy classes, and I realized that I knew nothing about policy. And so I think this is a very great opportunity, even if you are focused on clinical research, to really expand your horizons and learn about how things work, because everything is connected, and they do give you a very practical approach. And another very interesting thing is that since this is such a broad program, you will have colleagues with very different backgrounds and very different interests. So we do have different
Recording in
backgrounds.
progress.
So we do in the program, but you also have lawyers and people from the industry. So there are lots of opportunities to learn and exchange knowledge with them. Here are the options of concentration that we have. I highlighted here the one that I'm doing. So my concentration is in epidemiology and biostatistics methods for public health and clinical research. So this it gives you a very strong foundation in epidemiology, biostats, and also you do have time so let me just rewind a little. So when you are organizing your curriculum, you will have the core credits, and this is the core credits for a public health degree. And then you also have the electives that you can do whatever you want, and then the concentration credits. For core requirements, you will have courses related to policy, leadership, management, that are not simply biostats or research, but I am learning a lot from them. And I do think this gives you a very strong foundation. And for electives, usually you will choose based on what type of ability you want to acquire. So for example, I'm taking tracks related to economical evaluation, which means how can we conduct cost effectiveness studies, and also spatial analysis. And this is how you can use geographical information when you're doing analysis. So if you want to dive deeper into database surveys, research, or humanitarian health, or children, or if you want to go more deep into coding, into analytics, you can customize your curriculum based on what your interests are. So for that, how the program is organized, we do have summer term, as I explained. This is the same for all the students. And then the course here is organized in 2 months terms. So first, second, third, and fourth. The courses you're going to take are going to be based on this division here. And the curriculum, I linked here the whole curriculum. You can open and read it to understand what type of courses you would have to take. And here in the course directory, you can search for all the available courses. But what I highlighted here is the amount of options that you do have. So there are many options of courses. And another thing that I do find very interesting here is that you can take the same course with different levels of So biostatistics, for example, do you want to be a knowledgeable reader? Do you want to read a paper and really learn how to understand and interpret evidence? This is a specific track. Do you want to know how to conduct statistical analysis? This is a specific track. Or are you really a biostatistician who wants to learn the theory behind statistics and how to develop new methods and new analysis? This is a specific track. So if you want just to learn more about a topic or dive deep into it, you can choose different strategies when you are organizing your curriculum. So basically what you will have during this 11-month program are the core courses that are related to the core competencies of public health. And I do know that there is a central regulation to that in all public health schools in the United States. So as I said, you will have things like policy, environmental health, assessing population needs, so lots of different things. You will have your elective courses. And I think the hardest thing here is just make choices, because my first curricular plan was just not allowed because I wanted to take too many courses. So it's like being a kid in a candy shop. Then you have many advising and goals analysis sessions. So during summer, you are assigned a summer advisor. Then you will have your advisor throughout the program. That is someone that you can meet, and they will help you organize your curriculum based on your needs. Because I think one of the things that I really had to do here is think critically, what do I want to do? What are my goals? Because my curriculum is not similar to any of my colleagues, because we are different people. So it's really a lot about self-reflection. Then you also have the practicum experience, that this would be like literally a practical thing, like an internship. So there are many different options that you can take. And people here that are more in the policy thing, they might even do things in DC, or you can take like in companies, industry related to research. So I haven't started mine yet, but it's more to give you a very practical part of your program. Then the capstone project is a research project that you're going to conduct. And you can do it in very different ways. Since I'm in the app in biostats concentration, mine is related to data analysis. So you will have a capstone advisor, and you will do data analysis and to answer a research question. And Hopkins, the Bloomberg is in the East Baltimore campus. This is within the medical school, the nursing school, and the Johns Hopkins hospital. And they do have a lot of research going on. So it's a huge opportunity to connect and to be engaged in different research groups with different teams and depending on your interests. So regardless if you are a cardiologist, if you work with oncology or surgery, you can really direct your capstone to what you do like and what you want to do. And there is also a field experience fund if you do want to go for more practical work. So I think the overview is basically this, and I wanted to listen more about questions and what else you do want to know about the program, the application process. And before I forget, I also would like to acknowledge Alma and Professor Fragney, because throughout the whole application process, you were really, really helpful. And like you guided me throughout all the points, you reviewed my personal statements and everything I was writing. So questions? Okay, let me see here. Are you? Yes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's the expression I was looking for. And let's see the other questions. Other scholarships for non-Brazilians. So I know there are many scholarships. So whenever you're applying a program, there are scholarships that are going to be, you're automatically considered like usually merit-based. I don't really know if they have need-based scholarships for the MPH. And then in the site of each institution, you should be searching for scholarships. I do not know particularly like by heart, but just you can DM me with which is your nationality, and I can try to connect you with someone that is from the same nationality, because I think this is the easiest way to really learn about this. But I highly recommend you to go to the websites, go to the financial aid part, and look for options, because they have a very, very thorough list with all the scholarships that people have succeeded at before at applying. So this is a very good option. So yeah, there are lots of options. And what I wanted to mention here that I don't know if it's clear is that the programs, they are not exactly the same. So I know that, for example, at Harvard, you usually will have to choose your concentration first. And here at Hopkins, you will start broad and then you choose. So you have to make your choice by the end of summer term. So there are these tiny little differences, and also some differences in curricular design and how courses are organized. So this is not like the best, it's just what fits best for you. So take a look at the options at the courses, and really SOFA's application, I would say that 80–90% is the same for all the programs. So you can really take advantage of that. So quick tips about writing the personal statement. So this is more about the statement. I think here they call it statement of purposes, and this is like a tiny difference. But what Gabrielle advised me is that you need to show who are you, why do you want this degree, why you are a good fit for the program, and what this degree is going to help you in achieving your goals. So this is a balance in showing, hey program, I'm a very good student, you should definitely take me in, but I do have gaps that you are the one who's going to help me overcome these gaps, and then I'll be able to do this and that. So you really have to tell a story with your background, what you have done so far, what you want to do in the future, and how you think the program will help you achieve these goals. So what percentage of full tuition you are able to cover through scholarships? This is there's no like answer for that. It will depend on the scholarship. So you will have scholarships that can give you like a certain amount of money. So there are smaller scholarships that can give you $2,000, $10,000. You can have scholarships that will cover a percentage of your tuition. You can have full tuition scholarships, and you can have full tuition plus stipend scholarships that some people will call full ride scholarships. So there are many different options. What they do suggest, usually the full tuition ones are the most hard to get because everyone wants them. But sometimes you can get smaller scholarships that will help you through the process. So it depends, but it's possible to get a full tuition scholarship. I won't say that's easy. I won't say that it's 100% sure that you will get it, but they do exist and it's possible to get them. Okay, so the way, like, it's a little different the way they state it in I think the quantitative methods, but for example, my concentration is epidemiology and biostatistics. So it's extremely quantitative. When you say quantitative, what type of abilities are you talking about? Like, can you be more precise, Nina? I don't know if she's still here. Data analysis, yeah. So my concentration, for example, is data analysis. So you will do things in Stata or R, you can choose, and you can also go deeper into coding. They do have AI, or as I said, it's very flexible. So I do know that they have some machine learning and AI courses. You can just, if you want, just to go and type. This is not something I'm interested in, so I didn't really go deeper. But you can focus on causal inference methods, or they do have the basic biostats, that it's a 4-term cycle, and then you can add more things depending on your interests. So you can pretty much design a quantitative curriculum if you want. So let me go back to the questions. percentage I answered. So quantitative scholarships available for online options. So I'm not 100% sure. Like the majority of scholarships that I found are usually for full-time students. So I would say that getting a scholarship for an online program will be probably harder. I mean, I don't think it's impossible, but usually it's easier for full-time students. Because it will depend if you're, sorry, I didn't read the question. Why the period of completion so broad, 11 months to 4 years? It will depend if you're full-time or online part-time. So for full-time students, it's 11 months. And then the other options will depend on how many credits you're taking per term. So what do you think makes a competitive application? So steps, points for an MPH, relevance of publications. I don't think relevance of publication is like a changing thing, because some people here, they don't have peer review papers. I do think this is something that will help you. So I'm not sure, 100% sure, because I think people, they have such different backgrounds. They do not have like similar CVs, but when you are talking to them, you see that they all have amazing stories and they are all like overachievers. But I think that it takes a lot on how you are presenting yourself and how well you are creating your application. So that's why I said a lot of times, don't do things last minute, because even if you are an amazing student, if you don't show this in your statement of purposes, in your whole SOFA's application, people are not going to understand this. So I think that it would be having a well-rounded application with all the details. I think maybe, I don't know if Professor Fragney perhaps is on the other side to tell what's the most important thing, but yeah, I don't think it's like one thing or another, but rather the whole picture and how you're presenting yourself.
Yes. I would like to add just really quickly about the scholarships in Harvard. Even though that is online, you can apply to them, and we got students like that who got it. For example, Juan Godinez was one of them. He couldn't be totally full-time student. He has to be in Mexico. And then also another thing is that they were asking about the length. Of course, if you're a full-time student, but most of the students right here, they do research fellowship on the time. So they just can take 4 credits in a semester. So of course, it can take between 3 to 4 years to finish up the MPH. But yeah.
Okay, good interventions. My cohort here is only full-time students, so that's why I don't have so much information on that. So how do you get down to your personal choices of the length and focus of the program? So I'm a full-time student, so it's 11 months. So this was not a lot of things to discuss or think about. Regarding the personal choices here, we do have this summer term. It's 2 months, and during summer, we all take the same courses. And this is really a time where they are presenting the school, the programs. You do have some advising sessions, you do have concentration fairs. So you have time to really learn about your options, what you're going to learn in each track or in each choice. So basically, it came down to thinking what I want to do afterwards, what type of ability I want to acquire, and then find the courses that will help me achieve this. So here you will have time to think through it and really build a personalized curriculum. So if you have further questions, or if I'm not answering everything, you can just ask again or raise your hands. So I'm a med student. Should I do a research fellow before I apply to MPH to increase my CV, or it's possible to? I don't think you need a research fellow to apply for the MPH. Just to put it in perspective, there are lots of med students that will do a MD, MPH here, so they haven't graduated yet. You will find also people that are between undergrad and grad school. So I don't think it's required to do a research fellow. And since you do have your capstone research project, you will be able also to be connected to research teams, depending on your interests. So I think this can also open doors in the research world for you. because as I said, they do have like many opportunities and research projects going on. So if you apply only to determine MPH program, does the coordinator take that into consideration with it? And I can prove the city for the MPH. I mean, you mean to be selected for the program? I think, well, if you are applying for online options, this wouldn't be a problem. But if you're taking like in-person classes, then you do have to be in person. But I don't really know if you mean the coordinator when they are seeing your application to accept you as a student. So, I don't know if I answered your question, but I don't really know if coordinators, for example, know for how many programs you're applying to. I don't really have this information. Okay. So why did I want to apply? It was basically because I wanted to dive deeper into biostats and epidemiology and really this theoretical framework of clinical research. Because I do think that PPCR gave me a great background, but it also made me aware that like I wanted to dive deeper and I wanted to learn more and also to practice more research. Acceptance rate, I don't know. I don't have this information. Honestly, I have no idea. And okay, the coordinator seemed the app to accept me. But where is it? I don't know if they know how many programs you're applying to. Maybe Alma has this information.
No, actually, when you apply in SOFAS, only the program can see it. But Joao, what you have to show is availability. That's something that you always have to put for a program where they don't see your location right now, but you can add in your personal statement. I'm currently doing this. I want to be part of your program because of that. That's like an advantage. You're already set up in the city, meaning that you don't have to move, change countries and so on. Because, for example, it happens a little bit that sometimes people is accepted, and then at the end, they don't start a program because of many reasons, a new position, or a work, a new position in the work, or any issue in the family, or suddenly they don't have funding to move. But if you already show that you are there in that city established, of course, that is an advantage for you, for them to accept you because you are already there, and they know that it will be hard for you to say, no, you do it anymore, because they know that changing countries and all the things is hard, right? The funding and the economic will be hard, but you're already there. So that shows availability, and that's something that also the programs look. And then I just want to add, because I saw the question about being a student. We got one case, actually, Jane Nether, if someone of you know her. She applied to be in the MPH finalizing med school in Brazil. So, and she was accepted in Harvard, and she's doing the MPH in PCE right now. And just graduated from med school. So it's possible. It doesn't matter your level. Most of the things that I think that you have to show is passion for research and public health. What you did before, what are your current skills, and what you're trying to achieve in that program, why you would like to be part of the program that much. So it's really important that you show that a lot of interest, and that you know the program through, of course, right? And don't just come and say, oh, because it's Johns Hopkins or because it's Harvard. No, I read your program and I know that in the syllabus, you have what I'm looking for, and I want to be part of your team and grow with you and so on, right? So show commitment, passion, and so on. And also talk about your research interest. Interest. That's also something really important, because they know that you already have an idea what you like to do, and that you have skills, and maybe you will learn more with them. So show what you would like to investigate or do with those skills gained, right? So that's also really important, that you are goal-oriented and they see it.
And I think adding to what Alma said, like, take a look at what type of research they are doing. Because, for example, in my specific area, they do a lot of research here. So they have amazing groups already working. So it's really interesting that you show that you are interested in them and not simply copying and pasting the same statement of purposes. That's why I said to really take your time and read the websites about the programs to understand what's the best fit for you and what works best in your life situation. And I think about the story, So I think basically I started explaining that the first paragraph, I still remember this is also Professor Craig's advice that I should start with the more intense first phrase, that I really wanted to decrease the burden of cancer because I do work with radiation oncology. Then I explained my research path and kind of making a link and a story with all the previous experiences I had and how they were related to public health and clinical research, and trying to show why I did care about that. Why do I care about improving the burden of cancer? Because I work in a country with a lot of social disparities, a lot of barriers to access. Then I also told them about my experience in PPCR, what I had learned, that I already had some background, but also I explained about the gaps I had related to conducting trials and everything I still wanted to learn to really be successful in my goal of decreasing the burden of cancer. And then I linked on how the program would help me to overcome those gaps. So that's why I told you this is the balance that you do have to show that, because if you are so amazing and already a very accomplished research, what are you gonna learn there? So you're really trying to balance and show what are you gonna learn and why you want to be a part of that. And I think that's basically how I organized. And if anyone is applying this year and you need help reviewing, because I think like reading other people's personal statement, okay, can be helpful for you to understand the model, but it's about your story. So it's you, and you have to take a lot of self-reflection and think about who you are and where you want to be to write something that makes sense in your reality. So specific area that I'm applying to. So I think for Harvard, you usually will put that you are, because in Harvard you apply for different, they have like different fields of study. So you will apply to clinical effectiveness or quantitative methods. So it's a little different. Here at Hopkins, you apply for the MPH and they are not expecting you to know your concentration before. You only have to decide this by the end of summer. So you don't have to be that specific. You can just talk about your general interests. What I had was the same general storyline of the statement of purposes. And then the last paragraph that was more about the program, then I would personalize that. So I think that's also a helpful tip. So do I need to have my med title to apply? So, well, first question, I don't think you need to have like your board certification or equivalent to apply. As I said, you will have people that are between undergrad and grad school, but they will require, I think you will probably need to have your degree by the start. So what I would recommend you is to take a look at the website to see the requirements and perhaps send an email explaining when you're graduating and if it's acceptable. Because I don't know if you haven't graduated, how, I think maybe Alma knows because she was telling the story of someone who was still in med school when she applied. But I think those tiny bureaucracies, I don't really know how you would do. Can I apply to 24, 25 programs? I think so far they don't have a limit. I do think that it's a lot for you to really read and learn about and understand different programs and personalize a little your application, but I don't think you have a limit. Alma, do you want to add anything?
I added there that actually you can apply as many as you want, but there are fees and that make it expensive when you apply. So take into consideration that. I believe you should apply to 25 programs, Rodrigo. Actually, I mean, you can make it just with 10. There are many grades or more, 15. I mean, there are many grades in Boston and Johns Hopkins. And actually, in 2 weeks, hopefully, we're going to have also from London. We're waiting for the date to be confirmed so I can show you. We got many of the current TAs and past PPCR alumni also studying in London, which is, I mean, is where the public health started in the world of research and education, which is really wonderful. And we're also trying, hopefully, to have one from UCLA in California, another great university. So yes, you can apply as many as you want. But I do ask you search for what you want, right? Don't apply just because you want to get in. Look for the programs that attract you. Like I remember also one year We got one student who she wanted really bad to be in Harvard. And of course it's Harvard, right? But then she found a really nice program, AI program in Cornell, and she got accepted in Cornell. And that was the program that was meant to be for her because it was dedicated just to AI. And she did wonderful in the program and she thrived in the program. And then she just changed, right? But yeah, so don't look for programs just to get in, but look for what you're looking for. What is your background? What you like to actually dedicate yourself? Also, please bear in mind that every MPH everywhere also allow you to choose elective. So you can go and do a mention in other schools from the same university. So you can go broaden on business, leadership, or education classes from all the faculties inside the university, which is really wonderful. So you can also look into that and the options that they offer for you.
Yeah, so I think I totally agree with Alma and that really take a look at the program. So for example, for me, what really attracted me here is how strong they are in biostatistics and epidemiology and applying this to research. This is a very traditional department and it's very well organized. Everything's well structured and really multidisciplinary in the sense that they are not only teaching you research, but they are also doing research. So just take a look, because I know that there are some schools that are more focused on leadership, on policy, on management. Others are more focused on biostats. Others will have a focus on global health, international health. So think about what you want and what makes sense for you. Okay, so personal statements are a very sensitive piece of info for every applicant. I mean, you can reach out to me. I don't think this is something I would share like anywhere, like make 100% public, because I don't even know if I can. But I mean, if you're applying, just feel free to DM me and I can show you. Okay, yeah, Alma with the fees, they're expensive, especially if you're not earning in dollars. So yeah, this was great. So okay. Do you guys have any other questions? I try to really leave time for like questions and for you to ask, because I had many questions when I was applying. And if you need, feel free to email me. Alma has my contact information, and I think I'm here to help. And I think my final advice for you who are thinking about applying is to really take your time and read the websites, understand how the program works, how it's organized. Like, I'm very happy where I am. I really like my courses, the faculty, they are extremely supportive. I'm learning a lot. I do study a lot, but the learning process is amazing, the way the course is structured. So I think it's all about finding what fits best for you.
Great. Now I'm reading also, someone asked me for the name of the program in Cornell. I just found it, but I will also send that if needed. And I guess last comment, just like Cecilia said, remember, first apply. When you get those emails of acceptance, you can get scholarships and also you can get financial aid. And that will depend on what you're trying to look for. So you apply and see what they offer, but you also remember that you have to show availability and that you want to be there and so on.
And last tip about this is remember that some scholarship applications, you will have to fill them before receiving the acceptance letter. So start searching for scholarships right now, because I think Lehman, you send your application February 1st, and they will start sending you your acceptance the like second half of February, beginning of March. So be mindful of that. Like, start your spreadsheet now.
Yes, I also advise you to have ready your email asking for financial aid or scholarships, because most of the time the university has an amount allowed, and the first people who email is the first person who get it, right? So be ready to, as soon as you get your email of acceptance, you have to have ready your email of asking for, like, of course, saying thank you and they were grateful for being part of the program, and then what you can pay and what they can offer for you to reach the total amount of the tuition. But there are ways, you see, there are many, even people, I remember that they do scholarships like randomly in the countries, or go to the Ministry of Health that helps in your countries. I know that in Brazil probably might not be a good idea, but in other countries it helps when you go directly to the main health administration and you show you what I said before. Show I mean all the things that you got, your value, right? And that you will be grateful with any aid that they can provide you. It happened before. And also we got the financial aid that we have discussed before for women, just for women. That's from the group from New York, where they help single women to achieve their dreams, and it's really nice. They give you they can cover your expenses for living and I mean and also food and so on and transportation, but not the only things that they ask you not to pay other things, but they give you like a list, but they can help you with your housing, for example. That is a lot of money just in there, like 1,000 a month or something like that. It will depend on how you live, of course, right? But please also bear in mind to that, like share. We also try to help and connect people, like, okay, if that person is going to that city, for example, in the case of Cecilia, she's not alone. She also have a colleague there, Marcela, and I try to put them together. Marcela Bandegas, I don't know if she connected today. Also, PPCR alumni, she's also in Johns Hopkins right now. And you see, like, to bond and to find better things, so what to do and how to share. The same when people move to the lab, with Professor Franklin's lab, where they can go and live. You see, so we try to recommend places so it's easier for you to find, and also less expensive. What about the transportation and all those costs are adding up every month as a student, so that is also really important to check.
And I think like another like practical information is that Baltimore is way less expensive than Boston.
Yes,
so
that's
this
true.
helps as well. But I think the last thing is like I designed this talk because for people who know already that they do want to apply for the MPH and more on the practical information. But if you are questioning how the program works, if this would be the best fit for you, you can also ask me something, because the first time I heard about the MPH, I thought it was more about, I didn't really get that public health can be so broad, and this can also be about research. So even if you are 100% research driven, you are all about clinical trials, you can organize your courses focusing on that. So I think that's something that I didn't know in the beginning, and I do realize that now. Any more questions?
See anything? I was looking for private messages just in case. Okay, great. Nope, I see no. Okay. So thank you everyone for your time, and Cecilia, thank you again for this amazing talk and for showing all your trajectory, your experience, and for coming talking to our students and PPCR alumni. As you see, we got many TAs connected too, and young people. So it's really, really great that you start early in your career and that you're passionate about this. You're just like us. Cecilia, any final things for them?
I think just believe in yourselves. Like I remember when I was a student watching Gabriella's and Olivier's talk, and I thought like, will I be there someday? And well, I'm here now. So I think you can do it. Believe in yourselves, and I'm very grateful for Professor Fredney and Alma for all the help, the guidance, and especially for really believing in me and saying, "Oh, you can do it. Don't give up. Just apply." And yeah, and I think the final thing is like, you won't get accepted if you do not apply. So remember that.
Exactly. Thank you, Cecilia. So have a nice evening, everyone.
Have a good night.
We're going to see you tomorrow in the office hours and Tuesday on the lecture. Thank you.